Now, what do we have here?
We have a very exciting conversation to be had because the month of May is very special.
Beyond it's my birthday month,
it's your birthday month. Okay. It's family month here, but it's also like hypertension. The focus on hypertension.
No, don't take bad news away from my birthday.
No. So that's why I said your birthday first, and then family month.
However,
and then, also high on the list are other exciting. Not exciting, but necessary conversations to be had, especially about our bodies. As a family unit, we should also be paying attention to how we live, what we do, and World Hypertension Day happens to fall in the month of May.
That's right.
And so to help us speak about it and so much more, we have joining us Dr. Shaibu Ibrahim. He is a senior president, Department of Medicine in the Koryo Teaching Hospital. And finally, last but certainly not the least, Dr. Florence Koryo. Akumia. Yeah.
So she's also with the Cardiothoracic Center.
Yes.
So Akumia. You were destined for this, Florence. I mean, come on. I'm imagining her as a fetish priestess.
Wow.
Akumia. Wow.
It goes well.
And our tree station in Kumasi is Akumia FM anyway.
Exactly. So it falls right in hand. Yeah.
You understand? Hi, guys. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you.
That's right. Okay, so where do we even start from? Is this day new? Maybe we should start from there.
So it's really not new. We're just going out of the way to really emphasize on it this year as a society. So it's being spearheaded by the Ghana Society of Cardiologists this year. But then there is a global event that is celebrated. The May Measurements Month was instituted by the International Society of Hypertension, and it's just to encourage people to go out of their way to check their blood pressures and know their blood pressures in the month of May. And coincidentally, the International League of Hypertension also has the 17th of May, which is tomorrow, and is celebrated globally as the World Hypertension Day.
How serious is this situation? Why should anybody be concerned? Like they're listening to us right now, driving from a very long, rough day or good day. Why should we be bothered about hypertension and BP? And maybe Doc, you want to come in?
Yeah. So hypertension, unlike a lot of the diseases we hear about, is generally without symptoms. Once you start having symptoms,
I bet too in this one.
Exactly. Wow. Once you start having symptoms, then you have really progressed, and sometimes you may not be able to do much about it. So it's very important that we make people aware about hypertension and why it's important to pick it in the early stages, and the fact that it's easily treatable
when detected early.
Exactly.
What is hypertension?
So hypertension means you have a high blood pressure, and that means that the pressure of the blood that is pumped into your arteries is high. So the pressure with which the blood flows inside your arteries is high, and even that pressure may be sustained when the heart relaxes. And so it means generally in the way of how we check with the device, you get two values. It's written like a fraction. There's one above and there's one below. So we don't want ideally your blood pressure should be less than 120 on 80, and that is
120
on 80
over 80.
Yes,
fraction.
Please. Yes, so the upper one
numerator and
yes.
Take us to school.
So the upper one is known as your systolic blood pressure. So that's what the pressure that is produced when your heart pumps actively to push blood out of the heart. And then the lower one is known as a diastolic, and that's the pressure in the vessels when your heart has relaxed. Okay, so in between the pumping, that pressure is the diastolic blood pressure. Now, between if your blood pressure should go above or equal to 140 for the systolic and 90 for the diastolic, then you're said to have hypertension. So you realize that there's a space between 120 and 140, and then that group usually like pre-hypertension. So you don't have overt hypertension yet, but you're at risk of developing hypertension. So you'd also need to be very cautious and adhere to certain lifestyle recommendations.
It sounds interesting but scary. The way you're saying, it sounds very, very scary. How widespread thread is this situation? I mean, you guys are like the forerunners. You're seeing this on a daily basis. How often do people come in there with, since you're mentioning that you don't even get to see the symptoms, right? So how do people come and say, hey, ube mami BP, me block you, me bad news, don't prank me. Yeah, ube mami BP akosro. We use the term loosely. So how bad is the situation? Give us numbers, data, something to work with.
Yeah, so our most recent data was from the May measurement month, which was in 2018. Okay. There were a number of other studies, but that is quite recent. And again, this underscores the need for a coordinated approach effort to make people aware of hypertension, and that's why the Ghana Cardiology Society is there. Okay. So this May measurement month in 2018 was done in Kumasi, and then of the people that were screened, we found that only about 49% of Ghanaians are aware or have some knowledge about hypertension. And if you take any sample from the Ghanaian population, you have about 39% of them having hypertension.
Wow.
And out of this 39, only a third of them would be aware and be on treatment.
Oh, wow.
And that's 1/3 of the 39%. Only about half of that, that's about 18%, have achieved good control over their hypertension.
And then the rest, you're lau?
Yeah, you're literally walking.
Yeah, you're walking on.
But all hope is not lost. That is why we have all these groups coming up and stepping up their game.
So what's the plan? Do you have activities lined up? I know this is clearly one of them. You're reaching out to the people via the media.
Yeah, so
you're making people more aware of this. And what next?
So the campaign involves media rounds. That's what we are doing today, and also a lot of social media engagement. And then we are having educational sessions for health professionals. That's one of the mandates of the society. And then we are also going to do some screening exercises. So it's nationwide. We have a team in Takoradi, a team in Tamale, Kumasi, and then this is what we are also doing in Accra. So in Accra on the 26th, we have a screening session at Tapuso Kai that will be embarking on. And then we are also looking at other smaller screening sessions that we'll be having.
But let me bring in the question on causes and treatments, because some people might have it, but they don't know why. And also a quick one about low blood pressure. So 120/80 is the base, the normal standard one. So when it goes lower than that, then are you in a wrong space? And what are the numbers that you should be looking at that you should be afraid of?
So I'll take the part about the low blood pressure, and you can do the causes. So for the low blood pressure, some people generally don't have very high blood pressures. You usually are not bothered unless the blood pressure goes below 190 for the systolic, less than 60 for the diastolic, because the body has a pressure within which all the organs can get blood. So if it goes lower, then you are worried that some organs may not get blood. But some people have low blood pressures and they are able to perfuse all their organs, so they are not getting any lightheadedness, any dizziness. But if you usually have a high blood pressure or something happens and it drops precipitously, then maybe you'd have some symptoms of that. So it doesn't necessarily mean like it's a problem, but then you should see your doctor. They could get you assessed and let you reassure you if it's normal for you.
So 100 or 90 over 60 may be a cause for worry.
Less than that.
Okay, less than that may be a cause for. Okay, now causes and treatment.
Okay, so but in terms of causes, hypertension is broadly grouped into two. We have the most common type, which is called essential hypertension, in which case we don't know exactly why the person develops hypertension, and that's one other thing that makes it dangerous. Then we have the secondary hypertension, in which case we are able to identify a particular organ or substance that is at fault and causing hypertension. So the essential, or the type where we don't know the cause, is there. In that case, we can talk about risk factors or things special about someone that may put them at risk of hypertension. So under that, we can talk about lifestyle, sedentary lifestyle, people who sit in one place all day, not involve themselves in so much activity. We can talk about diet, diet rich in salt, diet rich in cholesterol. We can talk about obesity, and then a whole lot of
alcohol.
That's a very important risk factor. That's a very important
faculty.
risk factor. As well as
why have you reduced the volume, faculty? Why have you reduced the volume at this point?
Oh my gosh.
All right, so those are the risk factors for essential hypertension. Then in cases where we know the cause, you can have if your kidney fails. Your kidney is a very important organ that helps regulate the pressure in your system, controls the volume of fluid in your system. So when it's not doing this and you accumulate fluid, obviously the pressure the fluid exerts on your vessels goes up. Then we have the thyroid that produces a hormone that can cause a whole lot of changes in your blood pressure and cause hypertension. We have other primary things that can go wrong in the vessels. There is a whole lot of secondary cause of hypertension, but I would not bore you with that.
Also on the risk factors, so I think Shaibu will focus a lot on the modifiable ones. These are the ones that you can do something about through it because they are generally lifestyle related. But then there are those that you can really not do anything about. They are more inherent. So for instance, if you have a strong family history of hypertension, then your risk may be higher. This may be due to genetic factors or some other familial factors that you have. As you increase in age, your risk of developing hypertension increases because the vessels start to stiffen and also affects the pressure. And then if you are a male, men tend to have more risk for hypertension than compared to women.
Wow, and it's a woman's world.
It's a man's world.
Also, the race plays a major role. Africans have been found to be more susceptible to developing hypertension. The hypertension that Africans get, usually they develop it early. It's more difficult to treat, and they oftentimes develop complications early. So those are some things that you really cannot do anything about, and that's why people must consciously check their blood pressure to make sure that
let's get down to that. How often is normal? How often is not too much? How constantly should one go check on this? Because typical Africa, if the thing is not there, whatever you're looking for, you go and find it too. If it's not there, what are you looking for? So maybe you should be encouraging more regular checkups.
All right. So the interval would be informed by your initial blood pressure. Usually we recommend that you start checking your blood pressures once you are around 35 to 40. Some people would even bring it down to 30.
And then I can waste more. So I started the conversation with this one.
If you have a strong family history of hypertension, you are likely to develop even the essential type quite early. So if your initial blood pressures are not so high, then we can schedule yearly checks. If they are pre-hypertension, then we can put you on lifestyle recommendations and then schedule more regular, shorter interval rechecks for you. But if from the start it's already high, then we may as well recheck in a few hours or minutes and then institute treatment and then monitor the BP.
So I think a lot of people feel like if I go and check once and it's high, that's it. So the thing is that usually to diagnose hypertension, it depends on how high it is when they check, and usually you'd have serial checks over a time period. Sometimes we can let you check at home. We call something home BP monitoring. You check it at home twice a day, morning and evening, for a period like a week or two, and then based on that trend would determine whether you actually have hypertension or not. But then there are some circumstances, especially if you come with very high blood pressures, or we find at the time when you check your blood pressure is high that you have other signs of target organ damage. That means organs that are vulnerable to damage when the pressure is high, then you are diagnosed right away with hypertension and started on treatment. But usually, because there are so many physiological and things that can affect your blood pressure, we don't just go off with one blood pressure recording. We would give you time and monitor it, or do a 24-hour recording for you, and then based on that trend would make the diagnosis and treat.
Okay, I want to announce our WhatsApp line. All right, folks who want to send us WhatsApp questions as we engage our doctors here as the World Hypertension Day tomorrow. We are spending time with members of the Ghanaian Society of Cardiology or cardiologists. Yes, so we'll be asking you about some treatment drugs. Folks say they are drugs is it curable? Is there a one-stop medication to just take and then
Or you manage for the rest
blow
of
your
life?
nonsense away, or something you have to be managing over a certain period of time. You need something you recommend. And also, yes, I know we are asking like we're in the consulting room, but people are driving from work now. We feel like this is a perfect time to get them informed on a subject like this.
Yeah, so that would depend on the type of hypertension you have.
Okay.
If you have a secondary hypertension, once we take care of the cause, if it's your kidneys, if it's your thyroid organ that is misbehaving, once you take care of the root cause, you may be able to come off the medications.
Okay.
If it is essential, which is the more common type, usually treatment is lifelong. But if you are there to treatment, you would be able to live a normal life.
So as in, you be taking pills for the rest of your life?
For the rest of your life. Is it expensive?
For majority of patients, yes, but for a few, we can tinker with drug holidays and things like that. But for majority, you'd have to be on it for life, unfortunately.
It's expensive.
It depends on the particular medication, the brand. For a particular medication, you would have a brand costing, say, 10 cedis a pack for the month, and another brand costing like 500 cedis a month. So
Wait, are there no side effects with some of these medications?
So every medication has side effects. So your doctor will typically choose one that is based on other diseases you may have, or we call comorbidities, or any other peculiarities with you. Your doctor will choose one that fits your profile. And when they choose the one, they would educate you on the side effects, potential side effects. And not everybody experiences the side effects, but then if you do and you see your doctor, they make the necessary adjustment for you. So it varies from drug to drug. There are some classes of drugs that have particular side effects, others don't. Some may cause you to get swelling of your feet, headaches. Some may cause
That's you reacting to the drug.
That's a side effect of, so of the drug. So it doesn't occur to everybody. Some people develop erectile dysfunction on some of the medications.
No, relax.
You say?
Some people develop erectile dysfunction. So a lot of young
say what?
No, explain. As in,
so they have some challenges when it comes to
performance.
And unfortunately. So that's why I'm bringing it up, because a lot of people want to drink Sobolo. So I need to get the message out there. A lot of young men, and nowadays young people are being diagnosed with hypertension.
Scary.
So from the age of 30, 35, people are getting hypertension. I saw a 31-year-old last week who had hypertension, and that was as a result of kidney disease that was undiagnosed for a while. So sometimes it's important that when you get checked and you're diagnosed, you should be receptive to treatment. And this side effect of erectile dysfunction scares a lot of men. You'll just say, hey, obviously, yeah, exactly. So a lot of people don't want to take their medication. But the thing is that hypertension itself can cause that, and then the treatment may cause that. So not everybody responds to it in that way. And if you do and you see your doctor, they can either change the drug for you or give you something else to counter the effect of the drug, that particular effect of the drug. So it's always good to keep that line of communication open with your doctor, and then they will advise you accordingly.
Dr. Shaibu Ibrahim with the Department of Medicine, Koryo, together with Dr. Florence Koryo Akumia, physician specialist, National Cardiothoracic Center. They're spending time with us this evening as the world marks World Hypertension Day. Tomorrow, they've decided to go a month long with this whole agenda. So your heart matters. It's very, very crucial.
It's very
This is a special campaign to reduce the numbers that troop in to their place. Already they're understaffed. So they are doing half the job outside the premises for you. So if you've got any questions at all, please, this is the right time to ask them. We'll activate the phone lines for at least 3 of those questions as we continue to have our conversation. We'll wrap it up. 0592 928 795. 0592 928 795. Got areas we're yet to touch on, we forgot to mention or ask them about, please feel free, call us. Or 0208 227 290. 0208-227-290. Alternatively, send us WhatsApp messages 055-005-2927. 055-005-2927. 27. I've got a message here. Hi, Giovanni and AJ. Please ask them any data on the risk factors for hypertension in Ghana. Any data on the risk factors, and then well, yours is 2 in 1. You don't want to pay consultancy. sorry, I had to. I said it. This is good shower hospital now. I don't need health insurance. Okay.
Bringing me to a question: is high blood pressure or hypertension covered under the national health insurance?
Yeah, some of the medications are covered under the national health insurance.
Okay. All right. So that's it. That's a yeah. That's you've been answered. No. But any data on the? Let me get the question again. Any data on the risk factors for hypertension in Ghana?
Yeah. So that source I mentioned, the May measurement.
Okay.
So the proportion of the attendants who had hypertension, it was discovered that about 4.3% of them, their risk factor was smoking.
The number one.
Yes, it was also discovered that another about 4.9%.
Smoking what exactly?
Tobacco, sorry.
The peace pipe. Weed,
tobacco. Tobacco specifically.
Okay.
Another about
faculty is not the other one.
Another about 4.9% were using alcohol, and most of the risk factors were.
But some people say that alcohol helps, keep it down, level it, normalize the situation.
Normalize what?
That's a myth.
So we go back and forth on that issue.
Yeah, it's debatable, right?
Some time back we thought white wine might help cardiovascular diseases.
Yeah.
And what about red wine?
Another year we would say red wine, but generally alcohol above a certain threshold.
Yeah.
About 2 units per day.
2 units, meaning mix the red and the white.
And then you will get
quack doctor near me.
So a unit is a measurement of how much alcohol the drink contains. So you can take about 2 units per day for a man, and for a woman about 1 unit. We are even trying to make it 1 unit for both genders.
Okay.
1 unit for a woman and 2 for a man. Why?
That question, save it for keeping this show. Yeah, we are.
I think no.
When we finish this show,
that used to be in the past.
Okay.
Now we all have the same level.
Yeah, now we are bringing it down to
we all
one for
have the
everyone.
same level.
I'm like, what kind of discrimination is this?
just buy anybody teaching you.
But then also on the prevalence of the various risk factors. So diabetes and obesity are also very high up. I think they're higher up than the smoking and then the excessive alcohol.
Oh, wow.
And these diseases, together with high cholesterol, they actually called metabolic disease, and they often occur together. So when you develop hypertension, a few years later, diabetes comes in, high cholesterol comes in. So usually you end up having 3 of these diseases together, and then you have to take medication for all of them. So it's better to avoid one and the other so that you don't get any.
When should I talk to my doctor about high BP? When?
I think Shaibu mentioned, usually from 30 years, you can start that conversation. And actually, you should have an annual health screening. And it's one of the routine things that is vital. So the routine things that they will check when you go and see your doctor. So once it is elevated, your doctor will talk to you about it. But if you have peculiar risk factors, like you have a high family history, people in your family are getting strokes and heart attacks, maybe you should see your doctor a bit earlier and have that conversation, and then they'll thoroughly assess you and then give you the right recommendations.
Thank you so much, doctors. We'll take your final words, and then we would hope to see you again tomorrow. I know it's a very long day for you tomorrow, very busy one for you as well. So maybe your final words to our listeners. Yes, Dr. Shaibu.
I would like to stress the fact that hypertension is not one of the diseases which would be cured in a prayer center, for instance. You can augment our treatment with prayers.
Spiritual, yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, the most common type is usually not curable. So if anyone promises a cure, that person may be inimical to whatever efforts we are making. we would just advise people to walk to us. Our doors are always open. They can ask all the questions they want to ask about hypertension, and we'll be more than willing to help. Because if they don't come early and they come with the complications, we are the ones who are going to have to work really hard to save them.
And even if you are not available to join us at Dabosokai for the screening, you can go to any pharmacy, any hospital, healthcare center, and have your blood pressure checked. And then you do so every year from today.
All right. Some people say it's better you do it in the morning before food. Is that? Or you can do it. You can check your BP anytime.
You can check. So you can check at any time. You can check in the morning. You can check in the evening. And then also you should have the right environment when you are checking the blood pressure. You shouldn't take coffee right before. You shouldn't smoke cigarette before. You shouldn't exert yourself physically before. So usually they'll say when you get there, rest for about 15 to 30 minutes. You sit upright and then you relax, and then they check the blood pressure for you.
All right. So, which other events do you have lined up for this month as an association?
So we have a continuous professional development session tomorrow. It's an educational session for healthcare workers. And then we have the screening exercises. Ours is scheduled for the 26th of May.
Or I mean, does it involve the public? Are we
the screening exercise, yes. So it's for the community and anybody who works in.
Where would you be doing that?
So that's at Abosokai, it's at the Methodist Church.
Okay. All right. On the 26th?
Yes.
It's a Friday?
Yes, it's a Friday.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Florence Koryo Akumia of Kolebu, and Dr. Shaibu Ibrahim as well, Kolebu. Thank you so much, guys. And guys, continue to inform others what you've learned today in class. Share the news, spread the link.
Share the link.